Good evening, welcome back to the package alpha, TheWolfeCraze. We are going to hop back into alvo. I need to finish Siege of Paris. I also need to finish Ghost of Tsushima. Man, I also need to finish some of this alvo ranking. This progression system has got me hooked. In the spirit of talking about alvo, yesterday I had actually talked about the updates. Obviously I could only talk to like what I could remember, and what I knew has already been discussed out in public, but a more official set of details was released over on the PSVR Reddit. I want to go over that so that it's very clear, especially if you don't have any like access to Reddit. It's a very good this is a very good opportunity to kind of like tune into actually what's going on. So we're just going to switch over to the scene. All right, so here on the PSVR Reddit, we can see the booster shot update, okay, and the sale announcement. Very easy, you can read, but I'll do a quick rundown. So, hey, this is Red Rad, posting on behalf of Ruben from the Alvo team. So Red Rad, well, let's just say he's a very important person. Who is asleep right now, getting well-deserved rest. Now, for those who don't know, Ruben, aka Schwamps, I believe. Regardless, he is like the head like developer at the moment. Like, he started off fixing all the maps initially before the team grew. And now he's pretty much the networking guy, but he dabbles in like everything from what I understand. So he's a very important dude, very skilled, very dedicated. He's pulled 24 hours before, like, you know, it's been told to the community, hey guys, like, they work hard around the clock, multiple hours. This isn't any news to anybody, but just to emphasize how dedicated this team is to the success of alvo. That being said, this is our largest update yet since release and includes new features and content. It also coincides with the PS Indies sale, where alvo is 25% off in North America and EU and 50% off in South America until September 1st. Reason for that, I can only assume, is because things are more expensive in certain areas of the world, and it's harder to buy titles or PlayStation games or console games, period, in certain areas of the world. So a higher percentage off for those people so that we can get them in the game as well. So this is till September 1st. It's August 19th. You got plenty of time to hop on board. At present, it is $30 in US. So be sure to get it now. If you've been on the fence, now is the best time to hop in. If you encounter any bugs or have any issues, please report it in our Discord channel, and we will take care of it in the next patch, or at least try to. I mean, these are the words of the developers, of course, but we also have to keep our expectations in check. There is a prioritization list. This has been talked about plenty of times. People right now are concerned about the effectiveness of the sniper, and of course, that will, all the weapons will be tuned, fine-tuned, to ensure that there's a proper balance and a little bit, you know, as much realism as possible. And right now, the sniper, the Sako, is underwhelming for some people. That has been a known issue, but it's taken a little while because other things were prioritized. You can actually go to the Discord now and see Steve, who is a huge financer of the game and pretty much leading the charge. He said, like, yeah, this is, we pretty much know about this. Other things were prioritized. That was the issue, but it's definitely on the radar, so not a big deal. Like, they will definitely look into it. Scrolling down, we can actually see the logs. Now, I don't know exactly who wrote this up. It could have been Red Red, it could have been Sean, it could have been Schwamps, it could have been, I don't know, a number of people. It could have been a cooperative effort. I'm not sure. That aside, if we look at progression, we got the new player ranking system. You saw that yesterday in my stream. If you're watching anyone else's streams, you've seen it. The player ranking system also has banners. You got the bronze, silver, gold, and then you have the prestige levels, which you guys probably haven't seen it yet, but the beta testers have, and anyone who has been involved knows. The prestige system is you get a red bar at the top, and you keep your current banner. So once you reach max level, which is 50, then you get prestige mode every time you level up, and you'll be able to tell who is prestige and who isn't. The new weapon ranking and unlock system, so the weapons now also have levels, and with those levels come the ability to unlock attachments and stuff. Reduced bot kill XP. This is for those who are spamming and farming, and not spamming, farming bots. So we don't want that to necessarily happen. We want to encourage people to actually fight each other and earn more XP that way. So the bot kill XP has been reduced to not necessarily discourage it, but like encourage more play with other people. S&D plant diffuse XP. Now, last we tested prior to release, we didn't really see that in the XP, but there were changes already going on while we were testing the patch and beta. So this should be live. I don't recall seeing it. I might have to go back and actually look very closely at my last stream. I don't think we actually planted the bomb though, and we didn't have a chance to defuse it either. So that'll be interesting to see. S&D round win XP, we side that definitely exists. Free for all first, second, and third place XP. So you get a bonus for being in the top 3, which is awesome. That I didn't know about. That was actually really cool. TDM win XP, so you get a bonus XP if your team wins. So dev notes the first big change in the game is a progression system. We didn't want to release this patch until it was fully implemented and functional. Now you will need to level up to unlock guns. So your player level unlocks weapons, and you gotta level up your guns to unlock different scopes and attachments. This is kind of what you see here. So I think this is an older model. I could be wrong, but I was pretty certain you get 3 chevrons. I might be wrong, but I thought you got 3 chevrons, then you get the white lines. But this is how you level up. You get the 1 chevron, then you get 2 chevrons, then I believe you get 3 chevrons. If not, then it just stops at 2, and then you get the white bar here, white bar on the other side. And then once you go beyond that, then you get a star. Then you gotta get 3 stars, and then you level up to silver, and so on and so forth. Here you can see the leveling of the weapons. So this is the number of kills you actually get with the weapon. The more you level up with the weapon, the more attachments you'll get, and they'll be in this panel over here. So you can see whoever this was, they had played plenty with their pistol and played plenty with the UMP. And leveled that up a lot. Oh, that's actually Steve. You could tell because, hey, look, his name's highlighted there on the leaderboard, which tells you this is his. So he was really running with the pistol a lot. Networking. Now, this was a huge one. This was a huge concern for a lot of people because when they would do kill trades, the kill trades were horrendous initially in the original retail build. The networking code that they used was decent, allowed people to play together all over the world and not feel like they lost a kill. Problem was is that sometimes the kill trades happened after you had already died. So you would trade with someone, you'd go down, but you thought you were killed, and then all of a sudden you get the squishy sound that you killed them after you had already died. And sometimes that was lagged big time. So new networking to optimize networking code, added ping indicators scoreboard. This allows you to see who's got bad ping. I don't know if they're going to do anything with this. I know there's been talks about it, or recommendations about it, but I don't know. We'll see if anything happens with that. And grenade networking improved, so a lot more accurate network grenades. So when we say network grenades, that means like when you're seeing another player throw a grenade, now it's throwing at the same time that you're seeing them throw it, whereas before it might have been a little delayed, a little bit ahead, it would have been a little weird. This is a lot more one-to-one. So our second big change is the networking. We improved our network prediction and made killing a lot more strict. You won't get killed by someone you already killed, and grenades will be networked more accurately. There's still more network improvements we will be doing in our next patch, unless we add. Plus, we added a ping indicator on the leaderboards indicating who has bad connection. This isn't to shame anyone, it's literally just to help everybody recognize who is struggling and why there might be an issue, rather than, I don't know, this isn't from their words, but in my opinion, rather than like blame the game, it's like, okay, their connection's kind of poor. I can chalk it up to that, maybe excuse it, because it's not the game's fault. It's not the way the system's running. It's the person's connection that is kind of ruining it. Controller improvements, increase grenade ready time by 0.3 seconds. Now this is a big one. People have noticed it, and I know it's a little bit concerning, but let's be honest. Like when you have the move controllers, you only have so many buttons here. Let me just real quick bring this out. Okay, you got the move controllers, right? you have technically 4 buttons, 5, 6. You have 6 buttons, so you have 12 buttons altogether. However, a couple of the buttons are already used to hold the weapon and to move. So now you're limited. On top of the kill streaks, on top of reload, on top of switching weapon, on top of jumping, on top of crouching and going prone, all on top of throwing the grenade, switching grenade type, you have all these buttons. There had to be like some accommodations made. So to make sure that they could add every mechanic properly, they had to add a delay. So holding, if you double tap the grip button, or I say grip button, you double tap the grab button on the move controller to bring your offhand up to the weapon, that's going to bring your offhand up to the weapon. Now if you press and hold, that's going to activate your grenade. There needs to be some sort of understanding algorithmically in the code to recognize the difference between a hold and a double tap, so that you can use the same button for 2 different purposes. Now, if they did that just for the move controllers, it wouldn't really be fair, so they had to do it overall, in general, all around. So now even the aim control users like myself have to deal with it. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's fine. I think it forces the player to more strategically use their grenades and how they use them. So not too bad. Two-handed tracking for move controller, awesome. Everybody's loving it. Move controllers use secondary controller for movement direction, awesome. People are loving it. Improved left hand settings. Now left hand settings are fine. If anyone's, I'm sure left-handers have witnessed, and same with all other players have witnessed, a little jankiness in the why can't I think of the word now? The way the character looks, the character model looks when like a left-handed move user is moving around, especially when they're running backwards. It looks a little funky. If you haven't seen it, you'll see it. It'll look like their hand or their gun is going through their back because they're running in the opposite direction, but in reality they're actually running backwards. Not a big deal. You can still see where the gun is. It just might look a little funny. Slide to prone feature. This is where if you slide under something and you get stuck, you don't go to a crouch position, you automatically go to a prone position. So it's recognizing where you are in relation to objects in the world. Okay, so yeah, pretty much sums that up. It's missing the bar, but there's also a sprint bar here. It's blue. They actually made the health bar, instead of stopping here, it goes all the way around. And the timer looks different. There's also now a north indicator, so a compass around your map. A lot of really good in-game UI changes. So end of match UI, main menu UI, there are multiple UI elements that have been updated. You've seen those. You can see them in my stream and other people's streams. So a lot of UI changes. Weapon updates, Hornet fire animation updated. If I remember correctly, the Hornet was the P90, and that's a top load. There was no animation for that. I think by default it used the M16 reload, so it looked really funny. P90 now has a proper reload animation, and same with the Sako, which I think the Sako had something similar. I think it had the generic reload animation, but now it has a real animation. It looks very sweet. From what I understand, these might be temporary, but we'll see. Either way, great changes. Looks beautiful. The Falcon animation scale has been adjusted, so it's a lot cleaner, looks a lot nicer. Left hand animations for all weapons looks a lot better. Before, it was weird because us right-handers, the left hand's in the front, right? Well, for all the left-handers, when they were when they set it to left hand prioritization, it would move the gun to the left, but their left hand would still be on the front and it wouldn't be on the trigger like it should be. That has been fixed, so there you go. Accessories for pistols, which I haven't gotten, but I have played with the laser and also the reticles. They look great and they work great. Amazing, love them. The pistols in this game are worth using. Customizable reticles, so this is pretty much just changing color. I like to use blue. The red looks great too. They updated that. It's beautiful. Minimap, so the compass added, I already said that. Player location, you'll see an arrow above enemy dot. or below, depending on their elevation as it relates to you. In Minimap stamina bar. So like I said, a blue ring. You guys have seen that on mine or anyone else's. There is a gnome bug, so sometimes in search and destroy, enemies might show up as a green dot. Green dot is usually an indicator of a teammate. This is being fixed. This is known. It's going to be fixed. Honestly, it's not that huge of an issue. If you're playing search and destroy, you should already know where your team is. You will see arrows on the map. So if you know you're like behind, or if you know the placement of your teammates and you hear movement around you and you see a green dot on your map, you know that's not your teammate. So if you're playing S&D and you get screwed up by that, I mean, you should probably play some more S&D. Better understand. See, there's the blue dot, and then there's southeast, so you see the compass, and the timer looks so much more crisp without that yellow box, so good on them for that. Factory, this small walk around with that. This map is incredible. Great verticality. I just had an awesome clip of me clutching a 2v2 S&D from yesterday. So Red Rad says he personally loves this map. I think you guys will like it as well. It's one of the first maps we made thinking more on verticality. Now some of you might think, well, what about desert? Desert has a lot of verticality. There's ladders all over the place. You can get up on top of walls, you can climb buildings, you can get in some of the buildings. There is verticality there, but this one takes it to a whole nother level. I mean, they have rafters all over the place. They have high locations that you can sit at, you know, and there's varying levels. You can get on top of sea cans. You can, like, there's the various levels that there are in the map are just great. They're just great. And it creates for awesome gameplay. You know, dip, dive, duck, dodge, and dip, dive, whatever. You know, that as that whole saying goes. Great map, well done. And I can't wait to see the other ones, which I need to stay hush about, but there, if you go over to the Twitter, you can see some of the sneak peeks. Really cool. New map variants, Desert Dusk. This was originally supposed to be in the original retail release, but there were issues related to it, collider issues, updates that they wanted to make, so they postponed it. Glad they did, because the updates are awesome. So Desert Dusk is now in there. Town Dusk, this was a whole new concept. In fact, me and Arab had no idea about Town Dusk at all until it was put into the beta to test. So it was and also I think there was a Twitter post as well. So it was a very wonderful surprise, and absolutely love the map. Probably some of the best lighting in all the maps, and that's saying something, because Desert Night has great lighting and Industrial has great lighting. So yeah. And then House Night, which also has great lighting. Holy cow, the changes there is great. So here's Town Night, you can see it here. You can see Schwamp's tag name there on the ambulance and Steve CLT. So when we say Steve's car, that's what we mean. It's his car, okay? But the lighting on this map, incredible. Absolutely love it. Then you have the general bugs, fixes, and polishing. So you have obviously general bug fixes, Killstreak Navigation. This still needs some work. There are some areas where if you activate a kill streak, like your RC or drone or your dogs, they get stuck in the wall, or they're spawned somewhere that they now serve no purpose to you. Most of them have been found and fixed. There are some that still exist, and if you find any more, please let the devs know so that they can fix it. All right, it needs to function properly. It's not an insult, it's not a criticism, it's just like, hey, this was found. If you can fix it, that'd be great, so we don't have to worry about it. Awesome. Icons display only when available. So this was another thing on the back of the gun. I'll give you an example. I'll roll up here. On the back of the gun, it used to show the 3 potential kill streaks that you would have. When you got it, a yellow border went around it. So you'd see permanently the 3 kill streaks that you had selected, and when you got it, a yellow border would show up. You also had your ammo count. All right, so this was like plastered on the back of your weapon. Now you have to move your gun in a certain way to see how much ammo you have and how many grenades you have. There's no background to it, it's just white text like this. So it fades in and fades out, and your kill streak only shows up when you actually get it. So if you get kill streak 1 and you have the radar or the medic, it will show up here, but it doesn't have a background, it just has the icon. It is so clean and so fresh. I fucking love it. Beautiful. It's such a good integration to it. Only shows up when you need it. It's small, It doesn't get in the way. It doesn't block your ADS. It's perfect. They did such a great job with that. I am so pleased with it. Things that we're working on. Okay. I'm not going to talk much about this. All I can say is that I'm helping with it to an extent. Give me a second. Every time I fucking go live, man, every time I fucking go live, my phone goes nuts. Everybody knows that there's going to be a zombies mode. I do have a hand in it along with Arab. We are working with a team to get it in a good spot. It's really coming along, and I know some people might look at this and be like, oh, well, look, that's scary. Let me tell you. Okay, what's up, Vong? They're working on the Quest 2 version right now, Quest 2 Quest version. I'm actually going to get to that because it's in this Reddit post. So, but I have a picture that I can't show because I do take some pictures for this stuff, for the marketing stuff. I don't think this is one of my pictures, but if it is, then like that's a pretty good picture. But I don't think that this one was mine in particular. But you get a swarm of these guys, and when you're standing on the objective or you're standing on one of the boxes and they're surrounding you, these guys hit fucking hard. You don't want to get hit by these guys. And just know, like, this is one model. Can't talk about what's going to show up after, but just know, like, this is not going to be the only model. That's all I can really say until they say more in general public. This was my shot. I take pride in it. I will take credit for it, but it is Mardonpol's because, you know, I took it for them. It's theirs to use, but really sweet, very intimidating. Absolutely love it. Guns, we are working and planning on adding more gun skins to be unlocked. There's already existing gun skins. Sean has actually showcased some of them. One of them was in the one or two of the new skins were actually in some promotional content that was sent out to Sony that I think people have seen already. So like there's some really cool skins coming out. Dual wielding is coming out for Quest and Move controllers. So right now the focus is to get the Quest stuff going. Once that happens, then, you know, we'll see the dual wielding, and I can't wait. Having the dual wielding the fucking semi-auto pistols is gonna be insane. Just saying, it's gonna be awesome. And new maps, they are both unnamed maps, and they're pretty well done. I've gone through both of these. I believe this one was my picture too. I'm only taking credit because I'm talking about it, okay? But it's Mardonpol's. Like, they do great stuff. This picture was not mine, but it's so cool. In fact, when I ran through this, I never saw these pieces. The little details I fucking miss, man. Like, these maps are beautiful, well created, well designed. This is probably the brightest map. If I were to compare this to like a map in Firewall, I'd compare it to Containment. Not because of the setting, but the brightness. And it's intense. It's going to be great. And this one is another dark map, but well designed. Absolutely love it. And here's the last bits, okay? So this is what you were asking about, Vong. Lastly, we like to announce that ALVO has been reviewed and approved for release on Oculus Quest 2. We are still working out the Quest release date, but we have crossplay a couple weeks after it was released. So it was sent to Oculus / Facebook, you know, to be reviewed. Pretty much you have to apply for it, I think is the process. So it's been approved to be reviewed, and there's a time window. Like there's a window for where you can actually get it in. So this is priority at the moment. I think it's already been expressed in general in Discord. If not, sorry boys, but this isn't news. Like this is, well, it's now news. Like but it's yesterday's news, I believe, or earlier today's news. Either way, it's coming to Quest. And I played it on Quest. Most of the time when I'm testing things, it's on the Quest, and it runs so fucking good. It runs as smooth as it does on the PlayStation. And in the past, with the previous retail, and this was also made public knowledge, there were a few of us actually running the Quest version while playing against PlayStation people. So it works. The thing is, with the new network code, I'm making an assumption here, it might change things a little bit, but I can't imagine it being too difficult for them to get that accomplished. So we'll see how it turns out. I can't really speak too much to that because I'm not involved in that part, but the rest of it, I have said what I can say. I haven't said any more. I hope I haven't. I don't think I have. Most of what I have shared is common knowledge and fair to say. So yeah, man, I'm excited. So if you didn't check out the PSVR Reddit post, there it is. And wow, 19 upvotes? Sweet. Don't ask who that was. Don't ask who wrote that. A lot of really positive reviews. I want to point this out. So this, I'll just say, I wrote this. I think my name changes on a regular. I don't know. I don't really have an account. Either way, like, I wrote this because there are comments, and this is nothing against those people, but there are comments on here and on other platforms saying like, oh, well, when the game came out, it wasn't worth $40 and blah, blah, blah. So why would I want to buy it now? And it's like, in response to that, say what you want. You're talking about the past. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about where it's at. Let's talk about like what has actually been done. Sure, when the game came out, it was, I don't want to say it was in rough shape, but it was kind of in rough shape, right? It worked. It was, people were really excited about it, and they were playing it, but there just wasn't as much depth to it. Now the team knew that, and they listened to the community. They took all the feedback and they ran with it, and look at what they did. This update is fucking phenomenal. Now there's depth. Now there's room to grow. There's room to progress. That's why I wrote this. All right. And to know that it's an indie team working on all these things, they already have 2 maps ready for release, right? These 2 maps, which I can't talk much more about other than showing you the pictures and say I took that one. It's about all I can say. They have the 2 maps going. They have the quest getting ready to be approved. They have crossplay getting ready to be implemented, and a new mode in tow. Like there's a, new mode in tow, along with 2 maps and crossplay and quest. And like, come on, for an indie team, like that's a fucking boatload on top of the patch they just put out. Like, even if I wasn't a fan of ALVO, give them credit where credit is due. This goes for any team. Like, who were the developers of Swordsman VR? I can't remember their name, but their history has not been good in creating games. It hasn't. But look at what they did with Swordsman VR. It came out, people were like, wow, this is a great game. You know what they did? They built on it and built on it and built on it. I'm not a huge fan of the studio, but I'm giving them fucking credit. They worked hard and they're doing great now. That aside, a lot of positive reviews. I guess I'm getting ALVO after all. I was suffering from depression and lost interest in things, which included my VR. I was following the development of ALVO closely, couldn't wait for a firewall replacement. Now they're getting it. What's up, Cloud? How you doing, man? Crook, also really cool dude, buddy of mine. Who was saying this is so much more polished now. Thanks for making the game even better. It's shaping up to be a real banger. Time to jump back in. I can't go back to flat screen first person shooters anymore. I mean, you always can. All right, you kind of. I mean, I think this is a little too much praise. There's a place for flat screen gaming, especially FPS. I was just watching the Call of Duty League today, and that shit's just so intense. But if you're looking for a VR shooter, this is great. Yeah, man. Yeah, it dropped yesterday, and I was just reviewing the patch notes. I'm only allowed to share so much, so if you want to go check out the Reddit post, you can read it. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. I'll share what I can share, what I'm allowed to share. More positivity, definitely jumping back in. Thank you. And yep, that's on our radar. This is related to PS5 upgrade. So hey, they're already forward thinking. You guys are best. Keep up the work. This is a game that the developers are always striving to give. Great run around shooter with a great player community base, well worth adding to your library. This is Steve. It's about 6 GB, just shy of 6 GB of an update. Any plans for manual reload? Yes, there will be manual reload and dual wielding. The manual reload will kind of be an abbreviated version, so don't Don't think something like Onward or Pavlov where it's simulated reloading. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but think more like Population 1 or Fract, you know, something very quick. That's kind of like what the manual reloading will be like, but don't take that as like, hey, that's what it's going to be. I'm just saying it's along those lines. I don't know what it's going to look like. The team did a great job with this update. It's very solid foundation. Also, the move configuration is the best on any PSVR title to date. A lot of people have been singing praises of the moves. A lot of people. I haven't played with the moves yet, but everybody loves them. So another lover of the update. This looks awesome. Haven't played in 3 weeks. Definitely returning soon. You took the game with great potential and really reworked it, working out a majority of the initial kinks, holding true to the original game. That's a big thing. The core idea and concept remained. It was just updated and improved. Crossplay is going to happen. This person says, assume the weapon levels don't mean anything, do they? For example, level 1 Sako does the same damage as the level 30. No improvements as the weapons increase in level, I guess. It's only for the attachments. I know that to some that might sound like crappy, but you know, the Sako is going to be reworked and it's going to be powerful. It's actually the way it was at one point. It was the most powerful weapon in the game. And people were running and gunning with the sniper rifle. It was that powerful. So it was being abused. So, you know, balancing that is kind of difficult. This person's complaining about trophies. Because trophies even remotely matter to make a game good, he says sarcastically. Like, UG trophies are the same? What does it matter? Like, Skyrim has the same trophies, and there's a flat screen version and a PlayStation VR version. Are you gonna make different trophies for the VR version? No. Another update that broke the game. Wish Sony was better at offering refunds on broken games. Steve responds, how so? 2-3 hours now on this new update, no issues at all. Everything was running smoothly. What's broken in your game? This person's tossing out trash. There's been like no one who has had an issue with it that I understand. And this person says, and yet no single player. Like, I don't get it. But you're getting like a little bit of this negativity thrown in, but there's no foundation to it. Like, the game's not broken. If you think the game's broken, it's probably because you have bad ping, which means that you can't get in, you can't log on to the server because you have bad internet connection. That is probably the issue. So nothing against you, Pedro Barra, but the reality is, check your network. If you're running on a hotspot, that's probably an issue. Single player, don't expect a single player. It was promoted as a multiplayer game. So if you decided to buy the game thinking like, hey, there's going to be a single player, well, then you weren't paying attention. That's your fault. Sorry, Radiant Pressure. Yeah, so like, there's just so much. There's so much here. A lot of praise. It is really good. I encourage you guys to get it. I encourage, if you haven't touched ALVO in a while, I encourage you to. The update's great, and we're going to be playing.